Well, good morning. This morning we're picking up our story in Daniel chapter 2 at verse 36. This was the dream. Now we will tell the king its interpretation. You, O king, the King of kings, to whom the God of heaven has given the kingdom, the power, and the might, and the glory, and into whose hand he has given, wherever they dwell, the children of man, the beasts of the field, the birds of the heavens, making you rule over them all. You are the head of gold. Another kingdom inferior to you shall arise after you, and yet a third kingdom of bronze, which shall rule over all the earth. And there shall be a fourth kingdom, strong as iron, because iron breaks to pieces and shatters all things. And like iron crushes, it shall break and crush all these. Daniel and his friends must have drawn incredible confidence from this dream and its interpretation. Very clearly, there were dark days ahead. There were kingdoms to come, empires to be built, and that inevitably meant war, brutality, famine, poverty. And Daniel and his friends were able to look at these things, knowing that there were two things that shaped their perspective. The first was that the God of heaven, the God who was speaking, was ruler and sovereign over everything that would happen, and that their lives were held in the hands of this God. That not only is he sovereign, supreme over all things, but that he's good, and that their today, their tomorrow, and their eternity was held in his hands. Today we're in the midst of a great pandemic. We're in the midst of a season where across the nations people are dying. There is grief, there's isolation. How are we to face these days? We face them with the same confidence that Daniel and his friends had. You see, there was a second element to their confidence. It wasn't just that God was reigning supreme. It was also that God was acting on this earth, and that even these things that Daniel was seeing, that Nebuchadnezzar was seeing in this dream, even those things were all going to play out a part in the mighty things that God was doing. And so what God was doing was a little stone, and we know that stone is Christ. And that little stone became the cornerstone, a baby born in a manger, now the cornerstone, the stone against which every other stone in this massive building, the church, the people of God across the ages, which is being built right now. Jesus building his church. This Christ, this stone, this cornerstone is coming into the world, building this great glorious temple in which the Spirit of God dwells. And we're part of that. We get to be part of it. And so as you come this morning, I want to ask you this question. Do you come with anxiety? Do you come with fear? Are you concerned about the future? Why not take those cares, those anxieties, and offer them to God? Scripture says, cast your burden onto me, for I care for you. That's an active thing, casting, throwing. We do something with it. We have to give it over to him. We can't just hold it in our heads and let it roll around and cause us to tremble. We have to give it over to him. We have to find his peace in the midst of our giving to him. And so this morning, as you stand before him, as you pray, as you worship, cast your anxiety, cast your concern for the future onto him. We don't know quite how this will all work out, but we do know he's good. We do know he cares for us, and we do know that he's at work even in our circumstances right now. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you tomorrow.